Next on the show, Pav is here with me, Man United fan. What are you saying, Pav?
Oh, how's it going, man? Yeah, this Frankie De Jong saga continues. I wanted to start off with a question. They played a game the other day. Why the hell are they playing him if they want to sell him? I don't get that because I know for a fact that a lot of clubs, we did the same with Lukaku. Um, we didn't play them. We don't play players when you're about to move. And Barca, for the last 3 months, have been telling everyone uh, Frankie De Jong's got to go. So if you want him to go so bad, why are you going to risk him of picking up a injury? Could be a serious injury, light injury, or whatever. But you've agreed a fee with us, but you're playing him. What are you lot doing? I don't get what's going on. This whole situation. Like, I'm not angry about anything. I just find it hilarious. But um, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like this whole Chelsea stuff as well. I don't know if it's being pushed by Barca. I've not really heard any um, English journalists speak about it a lot. Obviously, you had Ben Jacobs saying something about it yesterday, but I don't know if it's Barca trying to get other clubs involved. But I think they're kind of taking the piss out of everyone at the minute because you've got Nagelsmann coming out and saying how they're buying all these players. Like, what's going on? Like, I know you got some financial levers coming in, but shouldn't you be using a lot of that money to clear off your debt? What are you doing buying all these players and making out like you've gone from eating mackerel, now you're back at the dining table eating caviar? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I really don't know, man. It's hilarious.
I hear you. I think the playing him, you can look at it both two ways. I don't think United didn't play Lukaku because of risk of injury. I think United didn't play Lukaku because he was being a cow son. He was being disruptive. He was being frustrating. He was leaking training data on the internet like weirdo. Look, if I'm at Chelsea, Man United, Bayern Munich, they're the three teams whose names are being linked to signing him still. If you're a fan of those clubs, I'd rather him play in pre-season and be fit for the start of the campaign than be sitting on the bench, not ready. Because then, say you did bring him in on deadline day, you're then probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks of getting him fit. So you're not even going to see him ready until October, And I think that for me is key. So I think him playing isn't really a problem. In fact, he's playing at centre-back is interesting. Maybe it's because they don't have centre-backs rather than anything else. But yeah, look, the saga is painful to listen to, painful to watch. But I don't really feel like anything's changed too much in the last week or so. I believe the story that Simon Stone has put out, that's just my personal feeling. I think the deferred wages is holding this up. That's why when Chelsea have been linked, you haven't really seen Chelsea. If Chelsea knew they could sign him and it wasn't about deferred wages, I think they'd put that bid in and get it done. But Chelsea are going to hold back as well because they know, like everybody else, that he ain't leaving until he's given an adequate. He's made an adequate offer for the 17 plus million pound that he's owed. I think he'll forego the money of a couple of years' time, the 35 mil per year, because it's almost they don't want me here, I'm going to go. But I think he at least wants some of the games that he's already played. The 17 million owed over the past 2 seasons, I think he wants a substantial amount of that given to him, and he's got every right. That's my personal thought. Otherwise, another club would have come in, and nobody else has come in for him yet. And I think it's because they all realise there's no point until that's resolved because he won't leave. So,
see, the only thing that keeps me going is that obviously there's talks of this Chelsea thing, but there's no way that the club would still be in this if there wasn't a chance. Like Ten Hag would have, if he knew that Frankie don't want to come to us, he would have just asked the club to move on to other targets. But I think he's like maybe giving him reassurances about joining. But obviously we know about the whole wages and stuff like that. But I'd like to see Man United, like Arnold and Murta, play some games with Barca as well, because the amount of games that they're playing with like clubs around Europe, I think that someone needs to teach him a lesson a little bit. But yeah, just before I go, I just wanted to ask you about Antony. Like, how confident do you think? Like, do you reckon we've actually got a chance of bringing him in? Because I said to you the other week, the fee that's being talked, there's no chance he's worth that much. I know, like Ten Hag wants him, but you said yesterday the outputs don't match the fee, and I agree with that. And I wouldn't be shocked, and I wouldn't be upset about the club refusing to bring him in for like a high fee. But what's your thoughts on it? Like, do you think we've got a chance of bringing him in, but not for like an extortion amount of money.
I think you have to always look at. I think you always have to kind of look at sort of history in this. Cristiano Ronaldo, when Man United bought him, cost £12.7 million. I think it was £12.7 million. That, if you look at the economy within football has grown by something like 400% in that time. Cristiano Ronaldo's fee back then to now would be somewhere in the even more than 400%, would be somewhere in the region of 70 to 80 million pounds. Now, I'm not suggesting that Antony is as good as Ronaldo was or will ever be as good as him. But the point I'm making is that very young, very talented players always used to cost large amounts of money. But we're just seeing that money from a different lens now because it's I don't know why £12 million never used to sound a lot. Or it did back then. So when it was said that you were spending 12 million, 50 million, 20 million, when Man United bought Rooney at 18 for 27 million pounds, people were going, "What the hell are you doing? That's a ridiculous amount of money." Wayne Rooney's fee back then at 18, now in modern day money would be about 130 million.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is, although it seems high at like 55 million pounds, it's not in the grand scheme of things. Now, when it will seem high is if the player isn't good enough. And this is the same with all these transfers. If Jules Koundé comes in at 60 odd million and turns into a brilliant centre-back for Chelsea, no one is ever going to look at or care about his fee. If he flops, then the fee becomes a big issue. Have you heard anybody talk about the world record fee at the time that Liverpool paid for Alisson? Has that fee because he's delivered against it? No one talks about the fee of Virgil van Dijk because he's delivered against it. So what I would say to Man United fans is this. I don't like the idea of overpaying, but when you actually look at some of the big consultancies who dictate the price of players, who actually feed into the clubs and help them set their prices, they have been valued at around 50 to 55 million pounds. So if we're paying 60 million, you're only 5 million over the valuation that the professionals give him. Forget Transfer Market's website. That's not based on anything substantial. Clubs don't go on the Transfer Market website and go, "Oh, they say 36 million, that's his valuation." They listen to the financial consultancies like KPMG. So my point is, as long as we're not paying 20, 30, 40 millions above the asking price, like we did with Maguire, which is awful business, I'm willing to accept it. You know, would there be as much stick on Maguire right now if he cost 45 million pounds? No. There'll still be crap, but it's all about getting the right kind of price. And it's a hard one, but I do think the deal's on. I do think Man United have got a chance, but it's difficult because Ajax don't want to sell anybody else and they're putting a premium on it. But we'll see how it goes, Pab. We really, really will. I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say.
Worries, man.
All right, bro. Take care, my friend. Thank you very much indeed.